So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome uh, our friend all the way from Brisbane, Australia. He's been running his gym from since he's having an experience of 17 years in the industry, and he also ran a gym in India for almost 6 years. And this is kind of we made, and like it's like kind of a role model for me. I learned a lot of things from him, a lot of things in terms of leadership. So I'm really excited for this talk and this podcast today. So we're gonna cover the very important topic that time and again gym owners and the fitness business owners in India struggle, which is uh, like team building and keeping the team and building a A-level team, right? And just for context, like he built a team of almost eight members, right? In his
Mhm.
uh, current gym right now, and he's doing well over $100,000 per month, which is kind of exciting, right? So I think it's like he's the right person to talk to. So first of all, I would like to welcome him and welcome on board, Coach Jake. And
Awesome.
it's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me, mate. I'm very excited. And just before we get started, I guess just a bit of context. So I've been doing this now for 17 years. We had 13 gyms, including one in Australia. We had a team of about 100 people at that time. Made a lot of mistakes and ended up having to start all over again post COVID lockdowns and all that with one gym. And now we've built that up from zero to over $100,000 a month. We have a team of 9 full-time people now, um,
Mm.
and I feel like I'm in a good place to talk about how to build a team because I've made all the mistakes over the years and learned so much from actually doing it. And yeah, it's really cool once you get it working, and I can't wait to share some of those lessons today.
Great, great. So let's dive into the questions directly. That
Mhm.
I have something to ask you, and
Yep.
I got all these questions when I talked to a lot of gym owners here in India, the fitness business owners, the health business owners in India. So the first question would be like, how do you identify and recruit
Mm.
talent that aligns with both your business goals and your company culture as well?
Mm. Cool. So there's two parts to this answer, which is really important. One is like the philosophies that you must adopt, and two is the actual nitty gritty of like processes. Okay, so
Mm,
we start overarching in the philosophy or the way of thinking. There's two things. Like any marketing, and this is marketing trying to recruit team members, you must
mm,
have a great offer. Okay, so if you want to attract A quality people, you need to be able to show them how they can be successful in your organization. So if you're out there offering minimum pay with no incentives and no way for them to grow, and wondering why you can't find amazing coaches for your gym, there's problem number one. Okay, so you got to have a great offer. And that doesn't mean you just give them loads of money straight away, but it means you have a system where they can achieve certain goals and progress in their career and make more money. So they might be incentivized to, get referral signups, or when they get a renewal payment from a client, you know, they get a bonus, things like that. And then over time, potentially their base pay increases as well. So you've got a structure for them to be successful. That's number one.
mm,
Without that, no great coach is going to want to come work for you. It's simple, right? Um, so assuming you've got that in place, then number two is you need to be the person that they're looking for. In other words,
mm,
are you the kind of leader that they want to go and work for and with every single day? Okay, because if you're not, if you're not that, operating at that level, you're never going to recruit and keep someone who operates at a higher level than you do, right? They're going to get, if they realize that and you're kind of slowing them down and they're not learning and growing from being on your team, they're generally going to be going elsewhere. Okay. Or they're going to end up basically running the show, and then you have no business because you're kind of a hostage to your team, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you've got to level yourself up. So that's kind of the philosophy. Great offer, be the person that they're looking for. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's really important. And then assuming we have that, then the nitty gritty systems like processes, things that you actually got to do. So if you want to attract people that fit into your culture, first you actually have to have a defined culture. Okay.
Mm.
In other words, what are your core principles or core values in your business? So you can actually look at each candidate as they come through and say, do they actually fit in with our core values and what we're trying to create here? But if you don't know that, it's very difficult. If you don't have that kind of defined, what is your culture? If you look on our wall here, you'll see the 5 core values up here, right? We won't go
Amazing.
through
Yeah.
and kind of go through them. Every business will be different, but you've got to have that definition of what are we looking for, right?
Cool.
And then the second part of that is some due process in hiring people. So one of the biggest mistakes people make is they'll interview someone and then, oh, that person seems pretty good, I'll hire them. So in reality, you've like spoken to them for 20 minutes and you liked them. They're a bit like you, or you had something in common, so you hire them. And then a few weeks down the track, you start to see a few cracks appearing. You start wondering if they're the right person. And then 6 months down the line, it's not working out. One of you decides to pull the pin and you start all over again. And that doesn't work. So you're going to have an initial interview for sure, obviously, right? You're screening first and going through resumes, having calls. And you're going to interview the people that have potential. And then from those people, some of them are going to move to the next stage, which would be some kind of like, come along, do a couple of workouts next week or whatever, join in at the gym and let's kind of just get to know you a bit better. You also get to see them in a different context.
Yeah.
So are they someone who practices what they preach? One of our core values is be the example. So if they can't get through a workout that the average client is smashing out, are they actually practicing what they preach? Do they cut corners? Right? They stop 10 seconds before the end of the round. Do they socialize well with the members at the session and get along with other people and introduce themselves? And, do they have that personality that's going to actually work as a coach? So all these things you get to observe in a situation, whereas a lot of people are good at answering questions in an interview, right?
Yeah.
And then if
Great.
that's all going good, the third thing is another interview, but with other people, meaning if you've got at least 1 or 2 trusted team members or an advisor or something like that, then that's when you do another interview with them, because they'll see different things that you don't see. We all have our blind spots. So you want to have someone else involved in that.
Cool, I got you. And most of the time, what happens, like, what's happening here in India, I talked to a very renowned gym owner, and he told me like, we don't know like why people leave us. So what we do, what they are doing right now is like hiring extra B players as a spare, right, and keeping them as extra, hoping that the coach will not leave. And once if he leaves, they just give the work to them, like it's kind of, and that's what they feel like they just found this way working for them, and this they're doing, like keeping people extras. And I feel like hiring players is like is not a solution. Like looking for a good like hiring process, and I hire a player and keeping them longer, I think that's the key.
100%. So
Right?
my view on that would, like, every business is a little bit different, but in general, that sounds like a good way to ensure high stress and mediocre performance, right? Because the when you keep a coach, when you lose a coach, you generally lose clients as well. There's a disruption, right? Because people have good relationships, etc. it's also very stressful. You have to start all over again, very time consuming. It takes your time away from building and you're trying to hold it together instead. There's an outsized return on a long-term team member in the sense of how valuable that is to the business. As long as they're the right people, you're not just keeping people long-term that aren't very good. Okay. So the best investment you can make, in my opinion, is pay more to the right people in the right ways. Okay. So they've got to earn that right. Okay.
Yeah.
But you want to have, essentially, the way I look at it is, if you have the best offer in terms of how they can be successful in your business, you don't have to worry about them leaving and going somewhere else, because no other business is going to be able to pay them more off the bat, because you've created a system where they can be successful. So
Yeah.
does that make sense? And they can
100%.
progress. And if they're
Yeah.
progressing and hitting their goals in your business, why would they leave, right?
Correct. That's sure. And the next thing on my list is like on the leadership, right? So, what leadership practice have you found most effective in the business?
Yeah. There's an old saying: if you're not leading by example, you're not leading. So
Mm,
I think the number one thing about leadership is be the example.
yeah.
Okay, so I know when I'm leading at my best, it's because I'm being the best version of myself. It means I'm showing up. I'm looking after myself physically, respecting myself, training,
Mm,
sleep, nutrition, etc., etc. I'm learning, right? I'm growing all the time, getting better, learning, evolving, um, and essentially just being the best version of myself. It then allows other people to level up. So nobody is ever going to outgrow the leader, or they tend to leave. So if you
mm,
want everyone else to grow, basically you grow and they follow you. Okay,
yeah.
so
So
that's
basically that's
how I
the
look at it.
like
Yeah,
be the example, right? So it's
be the
not tell
example.
them, just show them by
Yes.
your actions, right?
So
Cool, cool.
the difference between a boss and a leader: a boss rules by status, right?
Mm.
If you don't do what I'd say, I'll fire you or whatever. I'm the boss,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, correct.
And that's not a good way to get the best out of people. But if you show the way and say, "Hey, I'm driving this and I'm pushing and I'm growing and evolving, come along for the ride with me and let me help you do the same thing."
Yeah, and that's kind of like the kind of a motivation and inspiration the team members look for,
Mm,
right? Right?
yes. So
Yeah.
if I kind of go back just a step here, this is a bit of a philosophy that I've based kind of how we do things on. It's basically set up a system that if they're successful, if the coach is successful, the business will be successful. Therefore, I'll be successful, right?
Mm,
So if I've got that system, in other words, you hit these targets, which is good for the business, you get rewarded, which is good for you. So this is called a win-win situation, right? A win-win deal.
mm,
Now, once we've got that set up, my job now becomes help you win.
yeah.
Okay, so most leaders, bosses, whatever, are in this kind of headbutting situation against their employees, where the employee wants more money, the boss wants, the boss can't just keep giving out more money because there's only so much there. It's kind of this situation where we butt heads all the time. So we have it right from day one. This is how you succeed. You hit these targets, you get these rewards. And every business will be slightly different in how that's set up. But we've developed a really good system for our business that works really well. Um, so my job becomes help you win. And therefore, it's a much, I guess, better team culture, because I'm not dealing with you always wanting more money or whatever, whatever.
Yeah. So it's like a goal is
Make sense?
clear, path is clear
Mm,
from the day one, and they can see
pathway.
the
Yeah.
clear, yeah, they can see the like clear where they can go and what steps
Yeah.
they had to be. That's very nice. All right. So
Exactly.
while doing all this, like how do you balance maintaining
Mm.
quality standards and clients care while empowering your team to make a like decision, because
Yeah.
it's most of the time like you're not there, or if you go for like almost a week or two, but your
Yep.
business still runs very good, right? So
Yep. So it all comes back again. This is going to be a common theme for the questions to
yeah.
having great people.
Mm,
So you've done all those things that we've talked about and set up a great system to hire great people and keep and retain great people. Then there's just a whole lot less to worry about in terms of managing, right?
mm,
Instead of thinking of it like managing people, it's more like helping them succeed, coaching them. So
mm,
there's an element of management, like people are going away and you've got to manage and change things around, trainers or coaches that are sick and things like that, right? Of course.
mm.
But the number one role becomes coach them, mentor them, help them grow, help them succeed and hit their goals. So the high standards is a byproduct of having the right people and then just leading them well. Does that
Cool.
make sense?
Yeah, man,
So
100%.
so many of the issues that businesses in general, but especially gyms, because we have a high head count. If you think about like per revenue, how many people you need in the business, because it's such a service-based business. So it's always
Mm,
going to have a high head count per revenue.
mm,
So it's even more critical than a typical business that you have a great team,
true.
because what you're selling as a service-based gym, right?
Mm.
You're not selling the equipment and all of that. You're
Yeah, the
selling
product. Yeah,
the
correct.
coaching, the
Yeah,
help. So if your people are no good, your business is no good, right? So
yeah.
it's really, really the most important topic when it comes to growing a service-based team.
Cool, cool, man. That's like a lot of a clarity there, because
Mm.
you mentioned it's not a product based, it's a service based. So your team decide the quality of the service, right?
Mm. Yes,
Correct. Cool,
100%.
cool, cool.
So you want
I,
to find good people and help make them great. Just help develop them, help them get even better.
yeah, and it happens most of the time. Like gym owners, day to day they work in the business, like just taking like how many money they recovered, and what's going on the floor and everything, right? They just try to work or more on in the business, and they see like why they're not growing. And by hiring a B players, and always constant in a stress, like they will leave, what will happen tomorrow if they leave,
Mm.
right? And just working in the business, and they don't see like like they don't work on the business like you do, like you mentioning like developing your team and then helping
Mm.
them, not just
Mm.
and giving your time on learnings, acquiring new skills, going to the events and all stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 100%. Because you don't have to spend as much time worrying about all those little things and is everyone being looked after. If
mm,
A, you've got great people, and B, you know, for them to hit their goals, they have to look after their people, right? And
yeah.
like, if you've got the right people, it's in their nature anyway, but everything's set up so that you do a great job, which means look after your people so that they keep coming back, right?
Mm.
And tracking that, whether you're tracking how much revenue they bring into the business or other ways of tracking it, that's fine as well. Um, you don't have to watch over their shoulder all the time.
Yeah, cool, cool. That's great. And what's your approach to developing future leaders within you and within your organization?
Yeah. Okay. So, three things that come to mind. One is that they're great people to start with. Okay. You're
Mm,
not going to turn a turkey into an eagle. That's impossible.
mm,
Okay. So,
yeah,
um, no matter how hard you try, some people just, aren't the right people. So you're much better off moving on from that. And then the second thing is coaching.
mm,
Okay, so in our business at the moment, we do one-on-one coaching every fortnight for most of our
mm.
team, and then so that's with our operations manager. Each of our coaches does a fortnightly one-on-one with
Oh,
them,
cool.
and then I do a one-on-one each week with our operations manager and our sales manager. So that's coaching in the sense of like what's working, what's not working, where do we need to improve? How can we help? You know, role playing or going through ideas, or okay, coming up with an action plan to move forward next week. Okay,
Cool.
so that's the second thing. And then the third thing is learning. Okay, so great people that are super interested in getting better at their jobs, they're out there learning already, listening to podcasts or reading books or going to things. But we also do a fortnightly team training for 90 minutes where I might be talking about a topic. It might be some of our team sharing some of their specific knowledge, or we could even just be watching like a webinar or some YouTube stuff and then chatting about that, reflecting on it, and how can we implement that into our daily, right?
Cool.
So it's just essentially personal and professional development.
Mm. Cool.
But
And
I
that's,
guess, yep, I was going to say the moral of all that is like you're investing in your people, like you're putting paid time into them to help them get better at their job, because you're thinking long term. You're not thinking, how do I make as much money as possible this month? You're thinking, how do I create this great asset? And it's going to make a huge difference to a lot of people's lives. How do I help these guys build great careers? And therefore, you know, I'm going to succeed as a byproduct of all of that.
yeah, correct. Because when you explaining all this stuff, like you do it every fortnight, and it's, I think it's constant activity that you're doing, correct? So
Yes.
I'm sensing like it's involved a lot of your time, like
Mm-hmm.
apart from the money and all this stuff, right? As resources, but
Yep.
a lot of your
Mm-hmm.
personal time. And I think that's kind of it takes, right? So if you want to build a good culture, invest in
Yeah.
your team. When you talk about, like, it's not just the money, you're
Yeah.
hiring somebody to train them, right? That's the different part, but you're putting your own time in order to,
Mm.
like, achieve your goals for a like long term. And I think that's missing. Like most of the gym owners and
Yeah.
like leaders, they feel like, okay,
Mm.
take my money, but I have a little bit time. I cannot give you much
Mm.
time, kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? So,
Someone's got to be driving the bus.
mm,
So if you're the owner of the gym, but it's more of an investment and you're doing another business or another job, then you either want to sell it or get someone in there who is in charge. Okay. And they
yeah,
would be some kind of profit share arrangement where or some way that they make the business succeed, they succeed as well. So someone's got to be driving that ship, highly motivated to make it as great as possible.
yeah. And nothing comes
Right?
easy. It's like it's ever there is hard work, right?
Yeah.
It's right. Everything comes with the work, and they gotta do the
Mm-hmm.
work in order to,
Yeah.
to become a great, right? It's not something happened just by a fluke, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool,
You got to put in the effort. Yeah.
cool, cool. And next thing on my list is like, how has your how has your um
Mm.
team building philosophy
Mm.
evolved from when you first started to
Yeah.
now that you are generating almost
Mm.
more than $100,000 dollars a month,
Yeah.
right?
The main number one thing would be thinking long term.
Mm,
Okay. So it used to be like most businesses and most gyms, very like transactional, like you get an hourly rate to show up and do your work, for example.
yeah.
So the biggest rethink that I guess happened over that kind of restarting process and COVID and all of that was, how do we create a pathway for people to come into our business and then essentially succeed and hit their own goals, um, whilst also, for them to achieve their goals, the business wins by default. And the thinking what was and is, we have the best people, and we find great people and we keep them for a long, long time, it's impossible to compete with us,
Yeah.
right? Because we've got coaches that have just been here for years on end, um, and therefore, they're really, really good, and you know, our client retention is very, very good as a result of our trainers being very, very good and our trainer retention being very, very good. Okay, so retention of team is not always a good measure because a lot of people retain poor performance, right?
Mm,
And that just means you're going to have poor results and headaches
okay.
for a long time. But if you have great people and you keep them in a service-based business, as long as you've worked out your numbers and you're not giving, you're not giving the farm away, then success becomes inevitable.
Yeah.
Like is it kind of making sense? I hope it kind of sinks into people because most business owners in general, but especially gym owners, perhaps we don't come from business backgrounds usually, so I have this scarcity mindset that I don't want to pay my people too much, um, and that can be the biggest sample because, like you said, you just end up hiring more and more B players, and they keep churning and churning because there's nothing special about what you're offering them.
Correct.
So give them a pathway and help them succeed. And make sure you've worked out your numbers so that when they hit these goals, okay, the business is going to be getting X in return. My wages are going to be at a certain level to my revenue, which means there's plenty of profit left over. You can work that out in 20 minutes on a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Got you. And the question really attached to that is like, are you following any kind of a system or processes where you implemented that and have had the biggest impact on team performance and their accountability as well?
Mm. Okay, so some of those things that we were talking about before, like your fortnightly coaching, fortnightly learning, and
Mm,
weekly team meetings. Okay, so what we call a meeting rhythm,
okay.
right? So every week is the team meeting
Hmm.
every Thursday. Okay, and then on week one you might have your one-on-one coaching, and then on week two we have our team training.
Okay.
So it follows a rhythm like that. And then everyone has their KPIs that they've got to hit every week and report. Okay, that just means like how many clients of yours cancelled, what are your billables, so
Mhm.
how much revenue they bring in to the business, and a few other things like they've done a few things that have to be done. Weekly Facebook posts, how many reviews from their clients did we get on our social media, that kind of stuff.
Cool, cool, cool. So
Simple stuff.
got you, got you. So it's not something like they have to buy a kind of a software or like a
No,
hire some third
spreadsheet,
party to, take care of everything. No.
Google Sheet, very simple.
Right. So it's like a easy, simple,
Yeah,
free, but it's like they gotta put in the time and efforts.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
irreplaceable, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
100%. You got to have some measurements around, like, all right, these are the numbers we need to hit to get the results.
Cool. Cool.
Right?
And I think it's like a clear communication, like because I think you every week you're doing some kind of a touch points with the team,
Mm,
right? So it's
yeah,
kind of you're communicating your message repeatedly and
yeah,
clearly to them so that they
yeah,
know exactly what they are doing, what they need help with.
yeah,
And if they're struggling somewhere, like
yeah.
you can immediately help them in that, like in that week, almost waiting for a month,
Yeah,
right?
well, even like, the other thing when you say every week, it's actually every day. So
Mm,
there'd be a quick chat, some people call it a huddle. It's probably more of a
mm,
casual check-in
mm,
where our ops manager will be checking how are you traveling today, do you need any help with anything, are you on top of your stuff, right?
yeah,
So it's yeah, there's constant communication going on. It's not like you're over there doing your own thing.
yeah.
uh, Teamwork.
Cool, cool. So just related to that, on top of my
Mm,
mind, I just recall one thing. Like there is a one book with the name of Rework, and one concept that the author discussed there was like the meeting is a waste of time. Like it's very
mm,
counterintuitive right now, right? But I think it
mhm,
depends on the business to business because he's mostly giving the example of tech companies and some
mm,
bigger companies, right? And he mentioned like, okay, meeting is a waste of time. Like it's give a team to work on the task more, right? But
mm.
how do you see this in here with the kind of business we are in, like the health business and service business, right?
Yeah, it probably depends a lot on what you're doing in the meeting. Is it actually constructive or not? But
Mm,
some meetings, yeah, they can get a bit out of control, but you need to have an agenda, really, So before our team meeting, where's my? So we actually, everyone has their thing that they've actually got to fill out, be prepared, and follow a formula,
Ah,
right?
cool. Cool.
We're not just meeting and saying, "Oh, who wants to talk about something?"
Mm,
Um, so there's got to be structure to everything that we do. That's for sure. But yeah, in terms of team culture, etc., you do it right, it actually is really powerful.
yeah. Yeah. Cool. And because the same thing, like I was just going through one podcast with
Mm,
uh Cole Gordon. He does the like he run a big closers company, right? And he
mm-hmm,
do meeting every day. And he said it's like it's a
mm,
mandatory to connect
yeah,
with your team member, make their like temperature check kind of thing, that
mm,
thermostat is clear or what, right? And just give
yeah,
them like the right guidance and everything. That's like it's everyday stuff. There's like a counterintuitive every day, right? So there are some book
yeah,
comes out, they say like meeting
yeah,
is a waste
yeah.
of time. There are some like real practice who's running big businesses. They say like no,
Mm,
meeting touch point, helping your team members, the one thing,
yeah,
right? So it's very important, like depends on what they are doing, they have a structure in the meeting or not, and what kind of industry they are in, right?
yeah. And you're
So,
leading the meeting too. You're not just letting it,
mm, mm.
wander along. Mm.
All right, cool. So, how do you foster a culture of innovation and continuous
Mm.
improvement?
Yep. My answer for that would be pretty simple. Like you do it, as in you lead by example. So if
Mm,
I'm always learning, growing, I'm going to be having new ideas. Like you're leading the organization, so it's going to kind of follow your lead by
mm,
definition, right? But if I just sit around and don't learn, don't grow, just kind of expect things to happen, that's when things get stale. So I heard a good thing the other day. A company exists at room temperature, and your job as the leader or the founder or whatever you want to call yourself is to bring the heat. Okay,
mm.
meaning bring the passion, bring the ideas, bring the learnings, bring the growth, bring the energy to the table,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And everyone else will follow suit. I know whenever I notice like, oh, everyone's up and about right now, like yeah, everyone's
Mm,
like doing really good on fire. I'm always like, yeah, actually, I'm on fire right now as well. And if ever I look around and be like, oh, geez, everyone's a bit flat at the moment, then I check on myself and like, I've
mm.
been flat. I need to level up.
Cool, cool. That's it's like, and it's also comes down to like the ownership of the
Yeah.
what's going into the business, right? It's like a
Mm.
extreme ownership uh, of what you're doing, and what's happening in the business is like maybe related to
Mm-hmm.
the business owner, right?
Yeah.
Like just look themselves like what's they are right now, like uh, what's the condition that they are going, are they following the examples that, or are they following their own stuff or not, right?
Mm.
So I think it's like a whatever happening in the business, just look at them, like look at ourselves, and when you see like okay,
Yeah.
you find the answer, like, right?
Yeah. A business is a reflection of its leader for sure. So
Mm,
it's never going to outgrow you.
cool. That's a good saying, because mm, most of the business owners like hope like
Mm.
the things turn off, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the clients will just come in, the revenue will go up. They look
Yeah.
for the answer outside the world, right? Outside,
Yeah.
right? So they look
Yeah.
for the people that they can help, like, with their businesses, with their
Yeah.
lead generation and all that. That's all right. Like they can outsource some stuff, but they gotta understand like, okay, they need to be like keep on learning, keep on implementing the things and lead by the example, right?
Yeah. 100%. There's a good analogy that Jim Collins talks about called the window and the mirror, basically. So,
Mm,
your typical boss will look out the window and blame everyone else.
yeah.
It's their fault. They're not doing a good job, blah, blah, blah. Great leaders, in my experience, are always look in the mirror. Where do I need to level up? What am I missing here? You know, what do I need to do to change the situation and improve the result?
Cool, cool, man, 100%.
And
So
it gives
that's
you
mhm.
the power. Sorry, in that context, you're in control because you actually have the power over yourself. You have control to change your actions. But if it's always out there, you're powerless. You know, you're
Mm.
reactive and responsive as opposed to proactive.
Correct. And you see helpless, like because you see like outside, the outside condition is
Yeah.
affecting the things, and you feel like it's like out of my power. I cannot do that. Right.
Mm,
Cool. Cool.
totally.
So that's bringing to our end of this podcast. And
Mm,
the last question for you,
yep.
Jake, is uh, what's the most valuable lesson about team building you wish you had
Mm,
know, right,
yeah.
before starting your business? Like suppose we have
Yeah.
some people starting from like 2 years, 3 years in the business,
Yeah.
struggling, right? And or some people wants to start. So so that
Mm,
would be a great advice for them.
yeah. Totally. So the most expensive thing you can do in business is to be cheap when it comes to finding the best people. Okay, so you want to
Mm,
build a great team. I keep coming back to it. You know, you want to build a great business in this industry. It's probably the most service-based business you can get, right? It's personal training.
mm,
You're seeing these people all the time, and if your trainers suck, it doesn't matter how cool your gym is, right? So by paying a premium, and again, that doesn't just mean give them more money. They've got to actually hit targets to get that premium, right? But you might pay 30% more or 50% more than most gyms pay, right? Whatever the number is. Or you might offer other cool things, which I can get to in a second, which are
mm.
different to most businesses, most gyms as well. But by paying that extra 30% or whatever, they might be 2 to 3 times more valuable than those B players that we talked about. Okay.
Yeah.
An A player is doing such a great job that people don't leave the gym. They stay for our average is like 3 to 4% churn. That means clients staying up to 3 years on average, right? Yeah, more than that actually.
Yeah.
I got to do my numbers on that, but yeah, so 3+ years on average paying premium prices. Okay, that's because we have great coaches. At the typical gym, they're churning at 10 to 12%. Okay, so ours is
Yeah.
three point something percent usually. So it's about 3 to 4 times better than average.
Mm,
Okay, so that means our clients are 3 to 4 times more valuable, assuming we have the same pricing, but our pricing is a bit higher than most. Okay, so
mm.
our clients might be 5 times more valuable than the typical group training, semi
Yeah.
private gym. All right,
Cool.
so you pay a little bit extra, but you're getting 4 to 5 times more value from that trainer, from that coach. Does that kind of make sense? I know that the numbers can get a little bit confusing, but you got to work out your numbers before you go making offers to people,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
But it's very, very important. And money's not the only thing. Like, so, all our coaches are full time instead of casual, right?
Mm,
Most coaches working for gyms get paid an hourly rate, and they got to do a couple hours here, then an hour over here, and then an hour here, and then morning and night. So all our guys are full time. We don't do split shifts. You either work in the morning or you work in the afternoon, evening. So you
cool.
can build a life around that as well.
Mm,
You work every second Saturday instead of every Saturday. So we share that
mm.
around. Okay, so you can see how there's a lot of things there that are adding up on top of the career progression opportunities where you can make really good money as an employee without all the stress of running a business. That makes it
Mm.
a really attractive proposition, right? So
Cool.
invest in that instead of being cheap. Being cheap will cost you long term.
Correct. And that's like that the cost of opportunity, we could say, or that the hidden cost they cannot see by
Yeah,
hiring cheap
yeah.
people,
The
right?
opportunity cost, as you say, and I
Yeah.
think of it as an investment, right?
Mm,
Um, you invest a little bit more now, but you are going to get a much better return on that over time, especially the better and better you get at it,
yeah.
at doing that. Yeah, that would be the biggest thing by a long way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I like the way you bring the point, like just having a good career along with having a good life. Right? It's a kind of
Mm,
a balance, right? So because every alternate
yeah.
Saturday they get a time to spend their time with their
Mm,
family, right? They just work either in the one batch, which is in the morning or the afternoon, so that
yeah.
they can sort out their personal things around that. So
Yeah.
they will not feel burdened, they will not feel insecure, right?
Mm,
They
yeah,
feel like,
exactly.
okay, yeah. So it's like come down to
And
the saying. So the saying is like, are you like working like you living for work, or you
mhm,
working for living, kind of thing,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah. And it's really about like thinking long term. You're trying to
yeah.
create that win-win, and
Mm,
I'm trying to create this asset that will, work for me and my family for decades to come.
yeah.
And that's a different way of thinking than how do I make an extra whatever this month,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Or just firefighting for like looking at the expenses this month and the next month,
Yeah,
that's it, right? So it's
yeah.
like 1 month away from the filing a bankruptcy kind of things, right? So
Mm, mm,
so it's like you bring a very good point. That is like in this session, like we can go on and on, but we got some limited time. So but definitely we're gonna come up for the next
mhm.
episode of the with the same like podcast and with a different topic, right?
Yep,
So I think that would be more valuable for the people
perfect.
moving
Sounds
ahead.
awesome, mate. We had a lot of fun and always love chatting about this stuff. And look forward to our next one. Whatever topic that will be, we'll have a good time.
Yeah, sure, sure. So I hope like I'll just take some feedback from the gym
Mhm,
owners, and I just see like exactly
mhm,
what they want to look like have a uh you know uh topics cover in
mhm.
upcoming episodes. So yeah, and so that's it for this episode.
Awesome.
And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jacob Makluski, you just I learned a lot of things, and if you just implement this, like few things out of this, I think it's going to change trajectory of your business. And I hope
Yeah,
everyone had a good time today. And thanks for having here, Jacob, one more time. And I'll see you in the next one. See ya.
awesome. Thank
Bye bye.
you.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.